Hey, welcome in to the True Tiger Insider. I am Gabe DeArmond with PowerMizzou.com. Every week on this show, we bring on a different Mizzou athlete, let you guys get to know a little bit about their background, their story, how they got to Mizzou, talk a little bit about, obviously, their careers here and all of that. This is in partnership with Every True Tiger Foundation. That is Missouri's preferred NIL collective. If you follow college sports and you don't know anything about name, image, and likeness at this point, frankly, you've chosen simply not to pay attention for the last couple of years. But if you want to donate to ETTF, you can either go to everytruetiger.org or pinned at the top of our premium message board for our subscribers. Power Mizzou has a specific arm within that collective. We are actually, I talked to Lawrence Bowers a few days ago, nearing the first threshold of $100,000 donated to that. So that if you guys donate to that, you're going to get some special perks and things just for PowerMizzou.com subscribers. So we certainly encourage you to do that. The information is going to be running across the bottom of the screen all throughout this show if you were watching on YouTube. And that's enough of me talking. You guys don't come here to hear me talk other than to ask a few brilliant questions. We'll bring in our guest this week, Mizzou basketball player Noah Carter. If you didn't really need his name across the bottom because Noah, I think everybody knows you by the hair now.
Yep, yeah, they definitely can tell I'm a curly brother.
There you go. So first things first, man. I mean, the season ended about 4 weeks ago, I think. Like, what's life been like for you? What have you been doing? Just kind of, I mean, are you a guy immediately gets back in the gym, or do you need some time off after that?
Yeah, I took some time off. I took the 3 weeks off, and this past week has been the first week that we've been doing workouts and lifting and stuff again. So yeah, when the season was over, I was kind of telling myself it's been a long grind. So I definitely need a little time off.
Yeah, and look, the season for us and for fans starts, first week in November. But for you guys, this has become what, a 10-month thing? I mean, how much time during the year do you actually get away from basketball?
Not much. I mean, I moved here to Columbia last June, the beginning of June. So we were working out June, July. Got to go home a little bit before school started in August, and then we were working out then, and then practice started in September. So it was a long grind, but it was a great time.
So, like I told you before the show, one of the things we always like to do, we like to go back like way to the beginning with people on this show, and I want to know, like, do you remember when you started playing basketball? Like, how old you were?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure when I first started playing organized basketball, I think I was in third grade. I think that's when I started. Like that's when I got on my first official team, and yeah, really started to play.
Were you? I mean, you're about 6'6" something now. Were you always like a tall one of the taller kids in your class, or did you start out as a little dude?
I was always one of the bigger guys, and my family always said it. I always had that baby fat on me, so I was always a little bit thicker than most of the other kids. So yeah, I was always the biggest one.
So you start playing ball, and I'm assuming this is just like a local kind of community league team. At what point, and I don't know which one came first, but at what point did you realize you were pretty good at it? And what point did you think, hey man, this is something I want to keep doing? Like this is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it was either sixth or seventh grade when I played on like my first AAU team, and I remember making the team and just being happy that I get my own pair of shoes and I get my own jersey and stuff. And then probably around eighth grade was when I really realized that I could take this and not only make a living for myself, but hopefully do some great things. And that's when I really started to kind of grow a little bit and start really putting in work in and to try to get better.
One of the things that we probably haven't talked enough about with some of the previous guests on this show, but especially with basketball, it is such a time commitment for your whole family. I mean, like AAU is about to start up, and these kids are going Atlanta, Memphis, Dallas, hopefully South Carolina for a lot of them. Do you remember that kind of growing up with your parents or your coaches having to ship you all over the country?
Yeah, I remember because I played for the Iowa Barnstormers, so we used to have a team travel bus, and I remember my parents used to drop me off at the bus, and then I'd just ride, and we'd make long road trips, and we used to go to shoot. I remember one time, I think it was my 16th year, we went from New York to Los Angeles to Las Vegas in a 3-week span. So we used to be traveling all the time. It was a great time though.
Wait, you didn't do all that on a bus, did you?
Nah, but we didn't do all that on a bus. But we used to. I remember we bused to Atlanta and we went somewhere else that was pretty far. But no, those 3 trips we flew to, thankfully.
Okay. So when did you kind of start to catch the eye of any college coaches? I mean, do you remember like your first kind of moment where you're like, oh, hang on, now this is getting serious?
Yeah, I got my. I remember I got my first Division I scholarship to North Dakota, and it was. I'm pretty sure it was my sophomore year of high school. So that was, man. I remember I couldn't sleep the night after. I was just so excited because I knew that all the hard work that I'd been doing had finally been paying off. Like it paid off, and I got my first scholarship. So. But yeah, it was around sophomore year, 16th year is really when I think I started to open some eyes to coaches and stuff.
Okay, so for a lot of Missouri fans, obviously they probably weren't too familiar with you before about a year ago, about this time. So just kind of for everybody that's watching and listening, tell us the story of kind of your recruitment and how you ended up at Northern Iowa.
Yeah, I think I mean, I know I was pretty underrated, growing up, and I think most people they didn't really see me as a guy that really stood out. And then I really started. Then I remember my 16th year was the year I started really dunking, and I think that's when I really started to open some eyes up. And yeah, I was able to go to my hometown or my home state, Northern Iowa. And yeah, it was a great 3 years I had there.
Was that kind of where most of your offers, Missouri Valley, kind of what people like to call the mid-major schools? Is that?
Yeah, I actually committed a little bit earlier than I wanted to. My 17 year, before our last live period, I committed, and I kind of wanted to wait till the fall because I always had the hope of maybe going to a high major school out of high school, but just the way it worked out and the way I was feeling the fit, I think I made a good decision and I committed to UNI. And I think it was a great choice for me at the time.
So I'm interested to talk to you about this because you're one of the guys now that's lived both sides of this transfer portal thing, right? I mean,
Yep.
when and I heard it put a pretty good way on a podcast a couple of weeks ago. The guy said, look, the transfer portal, nobody should hold it against these kids because these kids grow up dreaming of playing at this level, at the high major level. Like nobody grows up and says, my goal is to be, a player in the Mid-Atlantic Conference or something like that. The goal is the highest level. So when you made that decision to kind of bet on yourself and I'm going to leave Northern Iowa and think I can get a shot, I mean, do you have an idea at that point like, hey, I'm pretty confident I'm going to get some Power 5 schools calling, or is that a little bit of a gamble?
It's definitely a gamble. You really got to bet on yourself at times. And I know I thought after my junior year, my last year at UNI, I was hoping I at least did enough to, spark some interest from some high major schools. But I remember as soon, like literally a minute after my name was officially in the portal, I started hearing from schools and they were high major schools. And I remember it was honestly, it was just the craziest thing ever. Just, getting calls and hearing the schools that were interested in me.
So the flip side of that, obviously, is the schools like Northern Iowa, like Cleveland State, where a lot of you guys, Milwaukee, where a lot of you guys left. And I'm sure that's kind of tough, but did everybody there kind of understand, hey, man, go take your shot. We know what you're trying to do here?
Yeah. Because I mean, I feel like I built such good relationships with them that, it's nothing, personal. That like, I mean, I feel like you see with coaches, they get opportunities, they get more money, and they're probably going to go to a bigger school themselves. So, it's all about, what's best for you. And I feel like I said, we all respect each other. We all understand what's going on. So, no bad feelings at all. And I mean, obviously you get some bad situations at some spots, but at least for me, it was good.
So you said a minute in, your phone starts buzzing. Do you remember at what point, how long it was before you heard from Dennis Gates?
I remember I made a list, and I think they were the seventh school that had contacted me. And then I remember talking on the phone with Coach Gates probably a couple days later, and then I remember we had a Zoom, and then just being able to get my official visit set up. So they were pretty persistent right away.
Yeah. If I remember, you had a couple of visits set, but you committed on that Missouri visit and ended up canceling some others. Is that right?
Yeah, so I didn't commit on the visit. I had my visit, and then on a weekend, and then the Tuesday following that weekend is when I committed. Yeah.
What was it where you just came down and said, "All right, this is," because at that point, like, you knew Kobe was probably on the team. I think Dre was committed at that point, but
Mhm.
it was still this kind of thing that nobody really knew what it was. What was it about Coach Gates or Missouri that sold you?
I mean, I really loved the visit when I got here. I was well taken care of. I really got to connect with the coaches and understand their vision. And through the whole process, like the Zoom, like I remember when I had my Zoom call with Coach Gates and the staff, he just talked about the culture of Mizzou and what he brought, that really intrigued me. And another thing that really hit me is Coach Gates is from the same neighborhood that my dad's from, pretty much in Chicago.
Okay.
So he was able to connect with my dad, and that was kind of a sign to me a little bit, just being able to see that, and I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. And then just on my visit, being able to come with my mom and visit here and see everything, and then when I committed that day, something was just weighing on me. It's like I couldn't stop thinking about it, and it just felt like God was telling me, like this is the place for you, like this is the place that's going to fit you best, and you already can see what's going on, and I just kind of took that as a sign and made the decision.
Was there any part of you, because you didn't necessarily get that full recruiting experience in high school, right? Was there any part of you that's like, man, I could go check out Gainesville and I could check out a couple of these other places and they're going to give me steak and lobster and I could be a king here for about a month if I want to?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's what I was thinking when I set up those official visits. I really wanted to just see everything, see all the campuses, and, the stuff that I had never seen before. But it's just something about Mizzou that was ringing in my head.
So you get down here the first week in June, like you said, and I guess at that point, Coach Gates is like the veteran. He's been here for 2.5 months at that point, right?
Yeah.
And all these guys are coming from all kinds of different places. And I mean, I'll be honest, a year ago, all of us doing what I do, we had no idea what to think of this team, right? We're like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never seen any of these guys play. I don't know what's going to happen. How quickly, and I know the stock answer is, look, day one, but how quickly really did you guys kind of start to think, hey, we've got something here that could be pretty special?
Yeah, I mean, the first couple of weeks when we stepped on campus, it was kind of just really getting to know each other. We did our meetings with Dr. Carr, and those were all day meetings that lasted from in the morning to like 2 a.m. Like just long meetings, and just really deep diving in and understanding each other. And I feel like once we got to that point, the basketball stuff became easy because I mean, we're all obviously really good basketball players, but once you get that connection and then you just go from there, it just all meshes together.
For those of you guys who don't know, Dr. Carr, who Noah's talking about, is Joe Carr, kind of a sports psychologist that worked with the team and with Coach Gates. And I know Dennis doesn't love you guys giving away big secrets, so I'm not asking you to go too deep here. But like in those meetings, what kind of things what kind of team bonding stuff are you doing?
Shoot, it's just a lot of stuff about a lot of dark stuff honestly came out about each other, the stuff that, you're not comfortable talking about. We did a lot of skits, reenacting stuff and reenacting situations and what we do. And we had some dance battles, it was all about, kind of letting go of, putting down that shield and, just really being able to express yourself and, get close with each other.
All right. Now I'm not doing my job if I don't ask who won the dance battle.
I can't remember who won the dance battle, but the one that stood out to me was Dre Golston's.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we had the music. I think because the coaches were the ones that scored it, but I think they gave Dre a bad score because Yeah, I can't remember who won, but I remember Dre's is the one that stood out to me the most.
All right, so let's fast forward now. We get into the season, and look, I know, like you said, you guys are all good basketball players. Once you start playing the level, whatever, it's just basketball. But you go out your second game here and score 28 points. Was that in any sort of way just kind of a, all right, no doubts now. I know I can do this here.
Yeah, it was like I remember because I usually don't get too nervous for games, but I remember the very first game, just going out there, doing the starting lineup and then getting in. I remember the first 2 minutes, I was like, it kind of, it didn't really hit me yet, and then I finally settled in, and then I remember I went I think 0 for 4 and from three in that first game, and I remember telling her I was like, yeah, this is gonna change. I remember I was like, yeah, I'm not shooting 0 for 4 ever again like that. But yeah, being able to come out in that second game and have a pretty big game, it was kind of a relief, and just to show not only myself but to show everybody that I'm capable of what I just did. It was a good feeling being able to do that.
Yeah, I don't know if it was after that first game, but I do remember after one of the early ones, Coach Gates said in the press conference, "Look, Noah Carter is not a 20% 3-point shooter or whatever," and it picked up. I'm sure it takes just a minute, but you guys go through this 9-0 start, and then Kansas happens. Was there a time, and I know you said you had the confidence in the summer, but was there a game or a time in that season where it went to, okay, guys, this is, kind of our expectations have risen here from what people might have thought of us?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as a team, we knew we were gonna we were telling ourselves from the very jump that they're gonna underestimate what potential this team has. But I remember our first road game at Wichita State. Being able to persevere, come back from a late deficit and come back and win that game in overtime. I think that was probably the first time that was the first time we battled adversity and really came together, and I think that was the first time that we were like, yeah, I think we got it here with this team.
Is there any particular game, moment, whatever, and it may not even be something that happened on the floor, right? It may be something that none of us ever got a chance to see. But when you look back on this season, whether it's now or whether you do it when your college career is over, is there any one or two kind of moments that really jumps out to you that in your memory?
Um, I'm trying to think. I don't know. It's kind of because looking back at it now, the season went by so quickly.
Mhm.
And I think because for the most part of the season, we won all the close games. We won
Right.
a lot of them, and so I think just going through the whole year and just like seeing all the wins and the games stack up like the way they did. I think that was pretty mind blowing for me, honestly. Looking back at it, we had a older team, a smart team that really could close at the end of games, and we had big time players that made big time shots, and yeah, it was. I think just seeing that was the craziest part.
Well, I mean, I can tell you, Missouri fan. I've been covering this school for 20 years, and I went here before that. Missouri fans have some scar tissue built up where they expect the bad stuff to happen to them at the end of games.
Yeah.
So I think like Dre Golston may never buy another meal in this town after hitting 240-footers to win games in a single season.
Yeah, I think like whenever we're out in public and we're just there, it's most of the fans to this day come up and they say thank you, just thank you for bringing the culture back to Mizzou, and yeah, honestly it makes me feel amazing because it's more than just basketball to me and to most of us, and being able to brighten people's days and years is pretty cool.
That kind of leads into what I wanted to ask you. I mean, again, look, Demoy only going to be here 1 year, right? Dre only got to be here 1 year. None of you guys, except for Kobe and maybe Aiden, are spending your entire college career here. But what amazed me about this season wasn't just, hey, you won a lot of games and all that, but how quickly this fan base sold out. It filled up that arena, and you guys truly seem to kind of form a bond with this fan base that seems hard to do in 3 months. I mean, how'd that happen?
We were ourselves really. I think each player had a specific, not a job, but a specific role that they fit, and I think we all did it to a T. Just being able to, we joke about it. Dre was joking about it probably a week ago. He said they're calling me a true son. He said Dre and Moy were saying that, and because the definition of a true son is you spend your whole career at Mizzou, right? Or
It kind of, some people think you have to be from Missouri. Look, it's one of those things. I don't know what it means, but people have said it around here for 100 years.
yeah, yeah. Well, he came in, he was bragging. He's like, yeah, they called me a true son here, and I'm like, well, I mean, I guess he had to have done something good for that to happen. But yeah, it was being able to see sold out crowds and hearing like the guys that were here last year talk about like there was really nobody at the games and everything is it's just wild.
So you get into the offseason and look, this is just kind of how college basketball is now. You almost have to say like, hey, I am going to come back for another year, right? Because you guys all have the option. I think the Antlers actually broke the news that you were definitely coming back next year, but like that wasn't really a question for you, was it?
No, I mean, obviously after the year, just wanted to take it slow and not because you never know what's gonna happen. But yeah, in my mind, I didn't. I really wasn't thinking anything else, and we was at the end of our bank. It was our end of the year banquet, and I think I won an award for something, and just at the end, I didn't even know I was gonna do it, but I just said if you guys will have me back, I'll be back next year because yeah, I mean, I was expecting to come back, so just to get it out there publicly and let everybody know.
How kind of weird is this period for a player? Because like, look, the fans, the media, we're all on Twitter every day. There's 1,300 kids in the portal. You never know who's coming back, who's going. So how weird is this time of year where you know where you're going to be and just kind of waiting and seeing? I don't know. We'll see what Coach Gates puts together for a team.
Yeah, I mean, I'm every day because we don't really know like what's going on in the portal or who we're talking to. I mean, obviously we had some official visits on this weekend, but I mean most of the stuff I see is on Twitter, and I look at the Power Mizzou stuff a lot, but yeah, I'm kind of just rolling with the flow. I mean, you can only control what you can control, and just keeping an eye out like you guys are.
The other big thing in college sports these days is NIL, and it's part of this show. And so we kind of try to ask everybody, and I want to stress when we ask this question, nobody is asking you like how much money do you make? That's not part of this. But like when you NIL, like how big a deal has that been for college players? And have there been any things that you've gotten to do through it, whether it's charitable things or anything like that have stood out to you?
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously a big thing nowadays. You got people that are kind of going to schools based off the money and stuff like that. But yeah, my experience here at Missouri has been perfect. I couldn't ask for anything better. Being able to connect with I'm a ambassador for the Special Olympics of Missouri. So through every True Tiger Foundation, I was able to do that. And I'm looking forward to being able to go to some events this summer and throughout next year. But yeah, it's definitely a very cool thing, and something that this is my first time being able to experience. So it's been really cool first go around.
I want to talk a little off the floor. I actually talked to somebody with an organization here that wants to get you out hunting and fishing with some of these kids. That's your thing, right? That's
Yes,
your big passion away from basketball.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I think I have my own boat in the fall. I bow hunt, so that's what I do. But yeah, I think I've always just enjoyed being out in nature and being able to just kick back, and it's what I love to do to really get away, get my mind off basketball. Because we spend so much time doing that, working out, lifting weights and stuff. So being able to go out, relax, catch some fish. Sit in a tree stand, and I also love it because if I go catch some good fish, I can come back, cook it for the team, and if I get a deer, get some deer sticks. So it's all beneficial.
Is that deer? Is that mostly your thing?
Yeah, I that's what I do when I with the bow, and I'm hoping to get out this spring and get some turkey hunting in. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
So, are you one of these guys that gets out there at like 5 a.m?
Not sometimes.
Okay.
I think to go turkey hunting, I'm gonna have to wake up that early. But usually when I go, at least this year, deer hunting and fishing, it was usually in the afternoon. If I could sleep in, I'd try to sleep in.
So where's the better hunting? Iowa or Missouri? Are they pretty similar?
They're pretty similar, but I'm pretty sure Iowa's like the mecca for big bucks in deer hunting. So, but
Okay.
I mean, Missouri's obviously really good too. But I mean, maybe it was my dad being biased because because we live in Iowa. But yeah, he always said Iowa was the mecca.
Okay. So we'll wrap this up with just kind of a couple of quick things. Obviously you got school here, and then how much time you get off, and do you have any plans for like after school before you're back here working out every day?
Yeah, we'll have once school's over with, we'll have I guess the time from when school's over in May up till June. So I mean, I'm planning on just going home, being with my family, working out back there, spending time with friends, maybe going on a couple trips, and then last year was my first time actually doing it. Last August, I had my own basketball camp back in Dubuque, Iowa. So I'm planning on having another one of those, hopefully a bigger turnout, and yeah, just being able to give back to the community, spend time with people now that I have a bigger platform, and kind of make a difference in not only my own life but other people's lives.
So what's how do you provide an encore to what you did this season? What's next year?
Next year's I mean, I can't really, I don't know what the future holds. I know it's going to be a great time. We're going to have a great team. I mean, people love Dennis Gates. So if they could put their faith in him for the first year, I mean, we'll see what the second year has in stake. But I think it's going to be a great time, and the people definitely have a lot of stuff to look forward to.
I want to wrap it up with this. I know you guys talked a lot at late season press conferences and joked about all the Dennis Gates memes on Twitter. Like, do you guys take those to him? Because he doesn't seem like a guy to me that probably spends a lot of times looking at him.
Yeah, he says he doesn't look at it. We showed him a couple of them, and he looked at us like, "What is this?" And yeah, we definitely enjoyed the memes this year. I was surprised when I first started seeing them, and then started seeing some of my own, and I was like, man, like people are very creative, and yeah, they're definitely super funny. So I'm looking forward to those next year.
All right, so last one, and I'm going to put you on the spot, and feel free to say no. But Dennis told us at the NCAA tournament that there's a lot of guys on the team that do Dennis Gates impressions. Are you one of the guys that does a Dennis Gates impression?
No, it's not me. It's not me. But yeah, there's definitely
who has the best one?
Trey Gomillion is probably the best impersonator on the team. He's really good at doing CY. He's good at doing all the coaches, really. Dre's really good at doing them. We got this. I'm not gonna lie. This past year is probably the funniest team I've ever been on. The guys, they're always joking, having a great time, and everybody had a great personality, and I think that's what made the team so fun this year, and what made this year so great.
Yeah, it's definitely a fun team to watch. I know I speak for all the fans that say that. And Noah, appreciate you taking some time and hanging out with us, man. And we will give you a little time off and catch up with you down the road.
Yes, sir, Gabe. I appreciate you having me on today. It's been a great time.
All right, thanks, Noah. Have a good one. That is Noah Carter, Mizzou basketball player, senior forward, going to come back and be a senior again next year. And once again, this is the True Tiger Insider, our partnership with Every True Tiger Foundation. That is Mizzou's preferred NIL collective. The information's been running across the bottom of the screen. And if you're listening to this on a podcast, which we'll release 24 hours after, you can go to everytruetiger.org to donate. If you are a Power Mizzou subscriber, there's information on our message board how you can donate through us to ETTF. So thanks to Noah Carter. I think we're going to have one of his teammates on this show next week, but we like to make sure we get everything lined up before we tease it too much. So thanks for hanging out. We'll talk to you guys next time. All right. Thanks, Noah. I appreciate it, man. I will, I'll send you a link to this, and then tomorrow we'll put it out on our podcast feed and everything.
All right. Sounds good.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Yes, sir. You too.